Here with Nathan Kleiman, Larry Sweatman, Occupy Philadelphia. These guys, last time we saw them was in front of Bank of America, right on the corner of Zuccotti Park. Thankfully, we're seeing them again just a couple of days later. We were worried about Larry. We weren't sure about him. We didn't know if it was going to be a couple weeks for these guys.
All right, folks, coming to you live, S17 in New York City. Right now, we've got a contingent of folks here heading to Wells Fargo. We're focusing on Wells Fargo because in Philadelphia, they're our biggest enemy. They stole $300 million from the Philadelphia school district in bad swap deals. They've been cited for racist predatory lending, and they abuse their workers, only paying them $10 an hour while the CEO makes $10 million a year. So we're going to go tell them what we think about it in the one Wells Fargo in Lower Manhattan.
We can see your greedy side. Go away. Go away. See your greedy side. Wells Fargo, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side. Wells Fargo, you can't hide. We can see your greedy side.
It's going to become I think we're going to
Wells Fargo, what the fuck? We bailed you out and you still suck. Wells Fargo, what the fuck? We bailed you out and you still suck. Wells Fargo, what the fuck? We bailed you out and you still suck. Wells Fargo, what the fuck? We bailed you out and you still suck.
Okay, so the location?
The location
On the map?
on the map
Was it right?
was not right.
Right, Dick.
Like
Just so you know.
Just so you know.
There's also a Bank of America.
There's also a Bank of America
Right around the corner.
right around the corner.
We shut it down this morning.
We shut it down this morning.
And I propose.
propose.
We shut it down again.
Make America bad for America. Make America bad for America. Make America bad for America. Make America bad for America.
Hey, tell us a little bit about your experience up there, getting arrested, your experience in jail.
Yeah, this was the first time I've ever been arrested in New York. It was unexpected. We weren't planning to be arrested. The action was a pretty spontaneous action, but the plan was always we had a code word, twinkle toes, that was, as soon as any one person said that, as soon as anyone felt uncomfortable, like they thought cops were coming, we were going to book it. And when the cops came over and they gave one cop was giving orders to people in the sidewalk who were watching not to block the sidewalk, and we were just listening to that, and then there maybe was somebody who was saying you will be given an order to disperse. I couldn't really tell, but then before we had a chance to disperse, somebody shouted out twinkle toes. We started scattering, and the cop said, the cop who came up to me when I started walking away pushed me back like that, and he said, "You're not going anywhere, you're under arrest." And I said, "I'm trying to disperse." He said, "No, you're going nowhere, you're under arrest." I said, "Well, for what?" And he said, "You'll find out later."
Wow.
Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve?
And there you are at the van. You mic checked from the van.
We were not allowed. But we were not allowed to disperse. We were pushed back violently.
Yeah, we had a little bit more time. I thought they were going to push us right into the van, but we had some time. I figured there were a big crowd had gathered that I should do a little bit to explain why this arrest was unjust.
Well, you know, luckily enough, there were NLG folks there, right there, you know, watching you guys. You know, we watched something a little uncomfortable with you. You know, I witnessed a police officer point right at you just a second before you were arrested. And so you were sort of targeted. You had sort of been out in front of this march. How'd they treat you? Did they treat you differently?
Well, it was really interesting because I actually didn't notice that the policeman had pointed at me until I watched the video later. But during the course of the events, when we were in Battery Park, we were talking about this, as Nate said, with the group, and we were like, okay, you know, who feels comfortable going to do this? There were a certain number of people who were like, yeah, I want to go to a bank. I want to make a statement about economic inequality, and but nobody wanted to get arrested. We were like, this would be a safe group, and that's why we came up with the code word. And so I think what you're talking about with just being out front is this was a spontaneous action, as Nate pointed out, and so when we were going through the course of things, somebody needed to just kind of like direct traffic. Yeah. So when we get to the bank and the dispersal word was given, I was quite surprised at the reaction of the cops, because it was inordinate, it was excessive, because I put my hands up and I tried to walk away. I was like, sir, I'm trying to walk away, and they grabbed my arm and they twisted around and bent me over, and I was like, no, you're not going anywhere, you're under arrest. And I was like, sir, I'm trying to leave. You said to leave. I'm trying to leave. And at that point, one of them grabs my head and shoves it into a wall, and that didn't feel good. And then they're twisting my arm. They put 2 sets of handcuffs on me. And then
you're a powerful guy.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, yeah.
Been working out, Larry. You know.
And there were about 5 of them that were keeping me against the wall. And I was like, I'm peaceful. I'm nonviolent. I'm here to do this. And one of them turns to me and says, I don't give a fuck.
You guys were arrested with a couple of underage folks. They weren't 18, they were 16. And protesting is not something that you need a height limit for. Protesting is something that you don't need an age limit for. You know, you don't have to be a certain age to protest. These guys put themselves on the line with you, and you just about became their legal guardian in jail to get them out.
Well, I started advocating for them from the moment we were cuffed, because I actually didn't realize that they were going to be doing that they were going to be standing there in front of the bank with us until we were standing there in the bank with them. Because again, it all happened very spontaneously. We didn't even, the plan wasn't even to barricade ourselves. That just happened in the moment. You can see at one point, somebody whispers in my ear, hey, should we grab arms? And then we link arms, and everybody links arms, and I realized I had that caution tape in my pocket, picked out the caution tape. That was from an earlier action. I picked it up off the ground, and I looked over and realized that they were with us. And when I saw the cops had slammed one of them up against the window,
this is one of the
17-year-olds. There was 2 16-year-olds and a 17-year-old. Of the 7 of us arrested, 3 were minors in this action, and we didn't know that. We didn't know one of them. She was from Brooklyn. We'd never met. The other 2 were from Cheltenham and the Philly suburbs, and we had seen them at Occupy Philly events, but I didn't know they were coming. They weren't in contact with us at all before S17. We just saw them at one of the actions in the morning, and they came up for the day. They had round-trip tickets, and they ended up in the jail the whole time. We told the police, we said, hey, you know you've got minors here in these cuffs, and they said, how old are you? And he said 16. He said, in New York, 16 is treated as an adult. And you know,
that's how they were treated.
That's exactly how they were treated.
Okay.
And when they came in, when they put us in that first holding cell with 100 other occupiers in there, those kids got the biggest standing ovation they might ever get in their lives, and they were an inspiration to all of those people in there, and then to the folks in the general population once we got transferred to the tombs after we were booked in the middle of the night. So it was pretty unbelievable. But when they asked for somebody to agree to be their guardian ad litem and go through the system with them, I was happy to do it, because they're great kids and wanted to make sure they were okay, obviously. So
right on. Well, Nathan Kleiman, Larry Sweatman, Occupy Philadelphia. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Chris.
I appreciate it.